We'd like to recognize the cancer survivors. So if you are a cancer survivor, would you please stand up, please? Thank you. We'd also like to recognize the caregivers. If you are a caregiver, would you please stand up and let us recognize you also? Being a caregiver is a very difficult task, I know. I've never done that, but I was involved with my own brother who died with melanoma cancer. And to you who take care of people and work with them, thank you very much for your work. And congratulations to the survivors. I bet there's two words you love to hear: cancer-free. What a wonderful thing. At this time, we have a survivor speaker for us tonight. Her name is Phyllis Kerr. Phyllis, where are you, honey?
Phyllis is a 23-year cancer survivor. She's been my mentor. She's a superhero to me. She knows so much about cancer. I just love this woman. But I asked her to speak. She didn't want to, but I convinced her to do it.
I have horrible glasses, so I won't be able to see my notes very well. And I'd like to mostly talk about two things, and that's why I came. One thing that I think is especially important is, and I think I've written about this on Facebook, so if you want to know the whole story about it, then you can get on my Facebook and read. But I've had a, I guess you could say, a series of unfortunate events in my lifetime to try to get treatment for cancer a few times. It's always been in my life. My husband had cancer, Harry, in the early 80s, and he had kidney cancer. And he had a checkup with his urologist. He had kidney stones, and he was okay. 2 months later, he was at the state tournament, and he was having another kidney stone attack. And he was awful sick, and he said, well, I've got to get through this ball game, of course. And so, as soon as he came home on that Sunday, Monday, we went to his doctor, and he put him in the hospital, and he saw it. He called it a mass. He said it looked like a cyst. They tested and carried on. And he said, I just don't like the looks of it. I want you to go where I went. So he sent him to Cleveland Clinic. They had a new surgeon up there, a real nice guy. And so Harry ended up having half that kidney removed, and it was cancer. And it was on the outside of a cyst, which is a very odd thing odd place for it to be. So they didn't recommend any follow-up treatment, and he's been fine ever since. So Harry is a miracle, and that gives me a lot of confidence sometimes whenever I feel about as low as I can. Because I look at him and I think, well, you know, God had a purpose for him. And he wanted to teach him a little, you know, let him live a little bit hard for a while, but he had a purpose for him, and he needs him around. And so he was fine, and he has been fine all these years. Normally, that's not a good kind of cancer to have. But I lost a nephew. My brother Jody had a son that died when he was 4.5 with cancer. It was an odd kind of cancer. He died in surgery out of state. Then, of course, my mother died with cancer, and I took off work and stayed home with her 10 months. So I've been a caregiver, and I've been a cancer patient too many times. But I took off work and stayed with my mom for 10 months, and I lost a year seniority or whatever, but I didn't care. That was precious time to me. I loved every moment of it. And we would watch Geraldo You know, we'd carry on, we watch videos, beach video, whatever, you know, you pretend it's okay. And it is okay for right then. You know, it's okay, you have an okay day, okay hour, whatever. So I've been on both ends of this thing. But I wish we had a bigger crowd, because I want to actually, I can't stress enough how you need to be your own advocate for your care. Because it doesn't matter if you like your doctor, if he's got a great bunch of credentials hanging on the wall. It doesn't matter if he's nice and knows your name. What matters is this guy or this woman going to make decisions for me when I can't? And I've had some pretty bad things to happen, you know, neglectful things. And one doctor even said, well, you know, you're not very assertive. And I said, am I supposed to be? You know, I'm kind of in shock about things. I don't know. It's not in my nature to be assertive. It is in my nature to ask many questions and do a lot of research. And one of my little heroes is my youngest son, who just graduated in May with a biochemistry degree. And I kind of figured out finally how come that I had Philip, because we've always wondered. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was a big surprise. But, you know, he helped me more than anybody, I think, through the whole cancer experience this time. With his chemistry and his intelligence, he did a lot of research for me, and a lot of research for my sister. And he researches cancer the whole time he's been in school, because I've been having treatment practically the whole time. So, you know, he just devoted his life pretty well to helping Mom and his aunt. But anyway, in 1989, I had been having treatment, and I'm going to use the names of my real doctors, even if they're your best friends. I want you to know, because when somebody tells me about a doctor doing a little something, and it wasn't good, I want to know about it. You know, I might still go to them, but I want to know about it. So I was going to Dr. Nurhood, and some of y'all may remember him. He was treating me for endometriosis, which nobody in the family had ever had, and we thought it was kind of odd that, you know, I supposedly had it. So Philip crops there. Harry's going to state tournament again. You know, I begin to dread March. But he's going to state tournament, and I thought I had mononucleosis again. I went down to the clinic, and I told my sister, Donna, I said, man, I feel so tired all the time. Just can't really make it. And I was teaching at Gun Valley. And Donna said, well, let's just do a bunch of blood tests and things and all this stuff. And Caroline, the PA, said, let's do a pregnancy test. I said, I can't really be pregnant. I don't even think we do that anymore, you know. It's basketball season. I don't think any of that's went on. Well, I was like 4.5 months, you know, so it was probably before basketball season that but anyway, I said, man, this is awful. You know, Harry's going to have the awfulest thing when he gets home, I'm telling you. Because, you know, Brandon was 17. He was a senior in high school, my oldest one. The other one was 10 and hated all kids. He didn't want any more around, he hates them. And so I thought, this is just not good anyway. And so we got over it and all, but Dr. Nurhood left, and it was a good thing. He said, God watches out for me a lot, and he shows me ways to go. And he removes people from my life sometimes because I'm too stupid to get away from it. And he'll place me where I need to go, and sometimes it's, you know, it's really hard. I'm hard-headed sometimes, and he kicks me around. But anyway, so luckily Dr. Nurhood left, and I had to go to a new guy. He said, you don't, well, he called me at home, and I don't know about you guys. I hate those nighttime phone calls. I mean, I want doctors to talk to me, I want them to call me, but not at the night, you know, you're trying to go to sleep. Well, he called me that night, and he said, well, you know, he said, I've got some bad news. He said, you know, you don't have endometriosis, you have cancer, and it's bad. He said, you have cervical cancer, and it's really bad. And I knew he'd done some biopsies and all, and I said, well, what do I do? He said, well, you know, I'd recommend abortion. He said, it's that bad, I think. But he said, no, it's your decision. So I thought about it a couple of days, and so I had him to send those biopsies to WVU, got a second opinion. The guy up there in pathology said, I think you'll be okay for, you know, a few more months. So they delivered Philip early so that I wouldn't bleed to death. I had surgery to remove all the surgeries and all, and I was okay, no more treatment. And, but like I said, you know, now I know why I had Philip. Now I know why he was there. He was there to help me later in life, I guess. But then my gynecologist later left, so got a new one. And when you get 50, he starts quarreling, Dr. DeRosa. I really like that guy. And he'll correlate you if you're, he'll say, get your colonoscopy, you need one. And I said, well, okay, so I waited around, and in '05, I got a colonoscopy, and I went to Dr. Tim Robards, J&G, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, is that how you say it? He has a heck of a degree on his wall. And he was a cute little guy, and real confident little guy and all that, and I thought, boys, he's for me. Well, he missed a tumor, a big tumor, and he caused me to be in the shape that I'm in. But that's, it's over and done with. But anyway, so he removed the precancerous polyp. He said, come back in 2 years. You need to do a follow-up. So I came back in 2 years, and he said, no, I didn't take him back 2 years. I said, well, yeah, you did. And I said, it's even in my patient notes at Dr. Kessinger's at the clinic, where you said, come back in 2 years. He said, no, I didn't. So he just, it was the end of that. So I went back to Dr. Kessinger, and I said, he said he didn't say 2 years. Do you see what happens if you don't ask a lot of questions? And so she said, well, yeah, he did. Here it is. And she showed me. And so she did a simple little test. It's kind of nasty. Nobody wants to do it. But you take the little bottles home and you check and 3 times. And there was blood in all 3 of them. This is 2 years after colonoscopy where he removed the precancerous polyp. Now, colon cancer grows very slowly. Very slowly. So she called him, and they had a discussion, pretty hot one in there. And he said, and so he did another colonoscopy, and he didn't come in the room and talk to me or anything when I woke up. He wasn't even there. Told my husband, he said, it looks like cancer. So he didn't even talk to me. And then I thought, well, it probably is then. So I went to his office, and I said, he said, I think you need surgery. I said, well, I think we don't need to do it until January. I can't do cancer and Christmas all at the same time. So you know how practical you are. Women are practical people. We just get it done the best we can. So it was just a month away, no big deal. So I knew that they could do colon resections, and so he did a CT. It wasn't anywhere else, and I thought, okay, that's all right. You got a lot of colon there to deal with. I ain't worried about that. So he did that. He did 22 lymph nodes. They were all okay. And he said, you got a 95% chance of being fine. He said, no treatment. You don't need any follow-up treatment. Well, I wasn't satisfied with that. So I come over here and talked to Don Davis. Interrupted his class. Because Don had the same situation. And Don said, well, I made him give me chemo. He said, because I just didn't like the sound of all that. Mine was stage 2 also. So I went to Charleston to another surgeon, and I asked his opinion. He said, well, I don't recommend any follow-up either. And he was an oncologist surgeon. So that, I had all these opinions. So then at Huntington, believe it or not, at this time, they had no oncologists that were taking any new patients. None. And so I had to go to Charleston to find an oncologist. Dr. Kimmy was still there. He'd been my mother's doctor. He wasn't taking patients. They had a Dr. Douglas. He was overseas doing something. And they just didn't have any oncologists. So I was like, wow, this is getting worse. I can't only find Charleston. So I went over there to the David Lee Cancer Center. Now, they had just hired this guy. And I was his first patient on his first day. And his name was Dr. Abarouche. And I can spell it now. But anyway, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. He'd been a Navy doctor or something on a base, I don't know. But anyway, I questioned him. He was from Georgia. Most all oncologists, it seems like, are from foreign countries. But anyway, and he said, you don't need any other treatment. I'll show what the American Cancer Society recommends. You don't need any other treatment. And I still was, I just was. So every 3 months, every 6 months, I had scans. Every 3 months, I was back in for blood work, checkups, and all that stuff. I did everything I was supposed to do. Everything that they told me to do, all the doctors. And it came back anyway. And so when it comes back, it came back in my liver. And that made it stage 4. And that made it, very, very complicated. But in the meanwhile, on June the 3rd, I think it was 2009, I'd had the colon surgery resection in '08, and I think it was, I can't never remember the year. Chemo just blew holes in my brain, and they're still in there. And sometimes I like it. I like it. But most of the time it's kind of bothersome. People look at you like you're, getting their dementia. So. But anyway, Daddy died on the same day that my little sister was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She was, I think, 44. I called her to tell her about Dad. And I said, have you heard the bad news? She said, who told you? And I said, well, you know, my Aunt Pete's daughter had called, and she said, oh, she said, I thought you were talking about me. I found out today that I have ovarian cancer, and it's stage 4. It's spread everywhere. She was in excellent condition, a runner. Always ate well, you know, kept her health good. Never had any vices at all. So that was a double whammy. It was a really bad day. Then 6 months later was when they found a tumor in my liver. So I had a hard time. Meanwhile, during that 6 months, they found out that she was BRCA2 positive. And if you're positive for BRCA2 gene, that means that you also, your sons have a higher incidence for prostate cancer, and sometimes pancreatic cancer, and colon cancer is a definite. And so, all my sisters and I were tested. My sister Donna is positive for BRCA2 gene. I'm positive. Tawana's positive, and my sister Brenda's not. And none of the boys have been tested. So then we had to worry about the breast cancer. 95% increase in breast cancer if you have BRCA2 gene. It's worse than BRCA1. And so I had breast MRI and all that stuff, go through all that. Well, they found a density. I had to, that was while I was having chemo, I had to go have that thing biopsied and stuff. You know, so everything has been like, it's just one big snowball after the other, you know, it just kind of fell on my whole life here. But the thing about doctors that I want you to understand is you have to be an advocate. Now, I love them at the David Lee Cancer Center. Excellent chemotherapy nurses. They have a pharmacist that comes around and checks you and talks with you. I mean, just excellent. But the doctors are so busy over there, and they treat you like you're a car wash. I mean, 10 minutes, $200 and some. You don't have time to ask questions. They don't have time to read your file. They ended up kicking me out. I don't blame them much, but they did. But you know, so but I'm gonna get to that part because I mean, honestly, I'm not mean, I'm not aggressive to them, but they don't like you to ask questions. But anyway, so I couldn't get Dr. Abarouche to do anything with this liver tumor they found in May of that year. It was almost 3 years after I'd had a colon resection. He said, we're gonna wait about, you know, a few months. Sometimes PET scans, he said, you can't read them right. He said it might be something else. He said, well, we'll probably do a biopsy, you know, a needle biopsy. I thought, well, yeah, let's do something here. I said, now you do remember colon cancer goes to the liver, right? And he was like, yeah, I know that. So meanwhile, I was dealing with the BRCA2 gene stuff, and I was going down to Edwards Cancer Center, dealing with, you know, Dr. Sean McKinney and Dr. Oakley with ovarian cancer stuff, and I was going everywhere. So I went down there, and Dr. Oakley he did a complete hysterectomy. He said that would help my chances of getting ovarian cancer. He also repaired 7 hernias that were, 2 of them were awful bad from the previous colon surgery. So anyway, so I was dealing with all that. Well, 6 months from the time they found this tumor in my liver, I got a hold of a good surgeon, and out of all the doctors I had, there were, you know, just as many good ones as poor. And Dr. Hamrick, Edward Hamrick in Charleston, he's an excellent doctor. And I saw him, he said now, because they tried to do a needle biopsy and they couldn't do it. It's too close to my heart. The little radiologist, he was so willing, but he said, you know what? I'm afraid I'll kill you. I said, well then let's not do this. I'm with you. Hey, we'll do something else, you know. He said, I tell you need to see a surgeon. I said, I think I do too. You know, I was going down there because he was nervous about it. And so he said, best surgeon I know of that might do this, you know, is Dr. Hamrick. I said, well, let's call him up, you know. And he did. He called him for me. Got me an appointment. Dr. Hamrick looked at everything. He said, I'll check all of the stuff with the radiologist. And he said, I might be able to do that. He said, but now liver surgery is not something we do a lot in Charleston. He said, if it's too close to any major veins, things like that, well, I can't do it, I'll send you away. I said, well, then you can send me wherever you want me to go. I'll go wherever you tell me. You know, so anyway, he called me at school. You know, like 2 days later, Dr. Hamrick did. He said, I can do that. I can do it. He said, I've got a good man that's going to help me. And he was the head of the surgery department for WVU that trained the surgery residents at CAMC for WVU. He was an old man, but he was still good. And he helped him. So I had a good staff. I had some good people lined up. Tawana called some of her nurse anesthetist people. You know, she'd worked in Charleston so long, and she had me. Rod Cummings' wife was one of my anesthetist people, sweetest woman ever was, wonderful woman. And so, you know, I felt pretty good about the surgery. Had some good people there, people I trusted, and I wanted that thing out there. And so he did it. I was fine. Came home day before Thanksgiving, and I was good. And then I went to. I still wasn't satisfied though, and I went to Johns Hopkins, took all my junk up there. I always got copies of my CDs. I always get copies of your DVDs from your kids. They give them to you, they don't charge you. HAG doesn't charge you, CAMS, nobody does. Keep them. Keep all your records. Ask for them. When I had chemo, I said, give me a copy of what you gave me today, and they did. You know, because they don't send your medical records to people like you think they do. They send little condensed versions of whatever they. You know, keep your own stuff. Help your doctors, help them, because they don't have any time. But anyway, so I went to Johns Hopkins, talked to a wonderful guy, head of the department up there, Ross Domhauer, really like him. He said, if you can get through your chemo, and he gave me his plan of treatment, and I'm going to tell you something, you go out of the state like that, they're not expensive. They are not expensive. PI didn't give me a bit of problem. The only problem is, of course, accommodations and travel. That's expensive. But as far as, you know, the actual charges at hospitals, no, they're not expensive. Our hospitals are just as expensive. But I went up and I felt better. He gave me his treatment plan. I came back to CAMC and I got it done, you know, and they did the chemo and stuff. I had the port put in, had the chemo, you know, and I've been, I guess about 2 years away. My percentage, you know, they all give you percentages of, you know, of time that you might live and all that stuff. And my doctor that I ended up with was Dr. Cole. Gilda Sue goes to her now at CMC. And you need to know why I got kicked out so you won't mess up. Because they are good. They're very good over on the chemo side. And they gave me another doctor. Mine, evidently, I mean, he kind of messed up on me. He waited 6 months before he treated that liver tumor, before he made a move on it. That was too long. He kind of messed up, and he probably messed up some other places, so they got rid of him. But anyway, they gave me a new doctor. Like I said, credentials, you know, they love them. And she trained at MD Anderson. I thought, wow, man, I got lucky. You know, I got a young woman doctor here trained at MD Anderson, and she messed up a couple of times pretty bad on my chemo, and the chemo nurses caught it. You know, she probably would have killed me. I'm not saying she's not good. I'm saying they're too busy. They are too busy over there. But they have excellent chemo nurses. And so, but you have to watch every little thing yourself. Be an advocate, I swear. Make somebody sit there with you and watch everything going on, whether you're having surgery, whatever. Make sure. And don't ever hesitate to call and ask questions if you're not feeling right or something, because she was going to continue my chemo after 10 treatments, and my hands were brown. They were horrible. I mean, they looked like big monkey hands. And my feet were all, and the little pharmacist came through, and she said, has your doctor seen that? And I said, oh yeah, I was in there yesterday. She said, you can't have chemo. So she called her over there, you know, and that was the end of that. But I asked him if I could change doctors. I said, I really don't feel like she has my best interests, you know, in heart. I just don't. I said, she's a good doctor, I just would like to have another one. And they said, we don't do that. You can't do that. That's not our policy. I said, yeah, but I can't go to CAMC anymore. I can't go to your chemo department. I can't go have cancer treatment at your hospital, and I really like your hospital. And because those are the only doctors affiliated with that hospital. I found out there's only 2 more in Charleston. They go to Thomas. And, you know, so all this stuff, I didn't know that. So in other words, and so they just kicked me out. They said, well, sorry, you can't have another doctor, and Dr. Cole, you know, doesn't want you anymore because you don't want her. And I felt like she was in grade school and I was too or something. I thought, what the heck is that all about, you know? And so I wrote letters, you know, complained around and stuff, called the governor, you know, because I was retired. I had nothing else to do. I was trying to make them straighten up over there. I said, you all need to put that in writing. People need to know that before you let them come in here and assign them a doctor. So, you know, I just wanted you to know that. So now I have 2 oncologists because I still can't decide. I go to one in South Charleston, Dr. Shaw, real hateful guy, good reputation. And I go to Trina's doctor, who has a very good personality, and I think she might be pretty good. So I don't know who I'm gonna keep, but I don't know how long it's gonna take PA to keep up with, but catch me up in it. But anyway, thanks for your attention, and if you have any questions, you know, about how to get out of trouble, I can't help you.
Hey guys, I told him not to introduce me. It's getting pretty late. There's just a few things that I have to do before we do door prizes and let you go. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you so much, and thank you for everybody that came. I wanted to tell you that the American Cancer Society, or maybe myself personally, sure, I said I would not cry, but just want to thank you for all the hard work you did. When I get awards mainly because of you all, and I always tell them it's not me, it's you all. You know, I couldn't do my job without you all. The committee couldn't have done such a great job by themselves either, but it took every single person that came out to relay. 1,169 people registered online. That's not it. That's more people than your county seat of Hamlin has. So that was a wonderful year. But I want to tell you that I don't sometimes understand 20 years in my job how people can give to an organization or to a charity when they sometimes don't have stuff themselves. Last year I saw kids that, you know, holes in their jeans, which may be in style and different things like that, but I saw little kids come up to me and said, I broke open my piggy bank so that I could donate to the American Cancer Society. And those kind of things really, I will never understand or comprehend how somebody can do that. But I do know that we appreciate it. And I don't face cancer in my home, and I hope that you never face any in yours, and that's why we do what we do. Long hours. You all spend long hours here tonight. You give up your time. I know I'm sort of like a paid staff to do my job, but you all donate time away from your homes and away from your family to do for us. And I want you to know that if we only raise $1 in this county next year, and some other counties raise $500,000, we got some relays that make $500,000, they get, or you will get, exactly what they do. From me, my time, and the programs and services that we have for cancer patients and such. But I just want you to realize this. If we find a cure for cancer tomorrow, each and every one of you sitting in this room can say, I took a part in that, and I think that's amazing. And when your child comes later in life and says, what was cancer? Hopefully you can say, there is no more, but I was a part of that. And they'll read it in their history books or online, but they won't have to deal with it in their lives. And that's what we're doing, that's what we're working for, and I hope that's why all of you are there. I know that this year there's staff people that want your county, and I won't hardly let you go. That's not in my hands though, of course. But I hope that that doesn't happen. But I just want to tell y'all to keep on fighting. You've done an amazing job. Lincoln County rocks. And I just think you're all amazing. Relay starts with a community that takes up the fight, and Lincoln County did that, and I'm very proud of it. So my last thing to tell you tonight is a challenge for you. This is just a simple relay cup with a slit in the top, like a coin can holder or whatever. If you are, now this isn't just team captains, this is for every individual. If you are registered online and your $10 commitment fee is paid by January the 17th, at our team captain meeting after that January the 17th, you each will get a cup. And in the cup will be a ticket. And that ticket is going to be for a really, really nice prize. It's going to be a gift card, that's all I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you the amount or anything like that. But everybody needs to be registered online. Michelle, raise your hand. If you cannot get online yourself, Michelle can help you. I put some websites down on your paper, your agenda. Make sure you take that. January the 17th, I cannot change the deadline. That is 4 months before our relay. Be registered yourself online, your $10 commitment fee paid. I'll make sure you get a cup with a ticket, and I wish you good luck to win the gift card that we're going to be giving away in the county. Okay? We're going to do some door prizes now. I won't ask for questions. I just encourage you to watch your emails. I know a lot of you filled out papers and maybe gave us phone numbers and not emails. We do a lot of things on our website. and a lot of things through email telling you about meetings. We have not set our first team meeting yet, which we are going to be calling participant rallies. Okay, they're going to be called participant rallies, not team meetings anymore. But we want your team to come out and usually the subject line of emails say 2013 Relay for Life of Lincoln County. So make sure you open those and read them because they're going to have deadlines and things on there, okay? So thank you so much. We're going to pull some door prizes. Y'all all hoping you win?
Yes.
So each participant rally will have Team Spirit Awards. So there's your competition. There's your competition. So okay.
Tim Davis, could you come up?
Okay, get out your tickets.
Yes.
Will you just stay there?
Yes, Shelley, I got my ticket. Draw my number.
Trina. Trina. They're going to lay these on the stage, and you can just come up and pick out what you want. Glenna Eplin. Right. 743-413. 743-413. Going once. 743-461. 321. 321. 743-321. 307.
I don't know. Let's grab some. I need to get you a ticket.
464. 432. Yeah, there's Team Possible coming in.